Hey, hello everyone. How you doing? I hope you had a nice weekend and you were rested, you reconnected, and now you are giving your 100% for this week. Hey Michael, how you doing? Hey Alex. Hello Sven. Thanks for joining. All right, so today was a very boring day. Usually FOMC decision weeks are kind of slow because well obviously because the smart money, the big players, the big boys, owners of the hedge funds, and like the huge investors, they are all waiting, uh waiting for the decision, right? So waiting for the FOMC decision. So usually that's something that I don't like. The FOMC decision, it's usually on Wednesdays. So we have two very slow days on the week. And the FOMC day is usually super boring because it happens nothing. It happens nothing, right? So this week was not different. Today was very choppy on the morning. I actually, I'm not sure if you remember, guys, but I have told you that usually the first 10-15 minutes of the day, I only go to the SPY and QQQ charts, and until I can't see a clear direction or a clear trend on the on the indices, I don't go look for a trade. So today was kind of hard because we were we were inside of a range for some time, and then we were widening the range, but still in a range. So you will see. So let's get started. Hey Luke, how you doing? Hey DC, you doing 5 days a week now? Yes. Yeah. I started. You know, I was supposed to skip Mondays because I have a lesson or a session with the Traders Lab team about performance coaching, trading performance coaching. So I was supposed to skip Mondays, but I mean, performing this session keeps me accountable for my revision, for going to my charts. So I just decided to start doing on Monday. So let's see what happens. Today we have very few people here, so probably we need yeah, we need to let them all know that, I mean, Mondays are back. But anyways, so okay, so let's start with Apple. All right. Hey DP. So let's start with Apple. So today, I was telling you that the indices, they were kind of choppy between the 5 minute opening range, and suddenly we tried to break below the 5 minute opening range, but we were bouncing out of the pre-market low. Same thing on QQQ. We were trying to break this 5 minute opening range, failing, but then making new highs. So we were just widening the range a little bit, but no real price action here, no real movements here. So until this candle, all right? So this candle is a 10 in the morning candle. Usually this candle is kind of, it's not very important, but usually it's because it's kind of the new candle for a lot of things, for most of the time frames. So these candles sometimes, or most of the times, sets the tone for the rest of the week, or I'm sorry, for the rest of the session, right? So once we had this 10 a.m. candle, it started to move a little bit on most of the names, but not Apple. Apple was dropping as a rock since very early in the morning. We kind of had this retest of the 5 minute opening range, or this 1 minute opening range, but there was no displacement, and obviously it was opposite to what the indices were doing. I mean, a little bit, right? A little bit, just because they were on a range, but I mean, Apple was looking very weak on the morning. Then we have a very small reaction right here on the pre-market low, this 202.49 pre-market low. Very small reaction here, and then we kept dropping, and then I was, someone asked me like, hey Neto, did you see this break and retest of the gap on the daily chart? But this is not a retest. I mean, it's off for a few cents. It's off for a few cents. I know I have told you that when you are looking for puts, you are just looking for the weakness and not the actual retest, or not the perfect retest on the key level. So probably this could be a nice opportunity here. What was happening on the indices? So uh, and that's the thing, right? So SPY was in the middle of the 5 minute opening range. QQQ was actually on top, on the top edge of the 5 minute opening range. But I mean, both of them struggling to show some movement, to show some direction. So this weakness here, it's a valid entry point. I'm not even saying that I will take a trade here just because there's no displacement clear retest or clean retest here. But if you were looking for some sort of opportunity for entering Apple puts, this could be a nice opportunity. And then we just keep dropping this 259 cents. It's a key level on the 15-minute chart. We have a baby reaction here, very small reaction here. This is actually the candle that tried to retest the gap on the daily chart, but it was not enough. It wasn't that strong. So we kept dropping here, consolidation, more drop, and we never had like a good opportunity to enter on Apple put. So I will say that there was no opportunity for Apple here. Uh, Anyone took Apple today? Hey Felipe, how you doing? No one took Apple today. All right, yeah, it was hard to get into something here. Probably the best shot was if you were looking all these weakness from the pre-market and the open, and you were very aggressive here. Look, this is 939 candle, so for me, it's not even worth the effort here. I mean, it was super aggressive, out of my trading window. But anyways, I mean, this could be an opportunity here, and then this almost retest of the gap on the daily chart. Again, it's off for a few cents, and the indices were not helping, right? I mean, the indices were inside, in the middle of the ranges of the 5 minute opening range, so nothing too clear to see here. Team Street, Neto, sorry for the silly question this morning. Jack mentioned he was looking for 105 calls on AMD. However, the stock was trading at around 100. One out of the money calls were 101. Yes. Well, let me see. Apple most of the time go against the market. Yeah. What is the earliest you will take any trade? Well, I usually wait for 10 to 15 minutes. Not sure if I ever told you, but this is my first layout, or this is my first chart. So I go to this chart where I only have SPY and QQQ. So until I have a clear direction here, I start looking for opportunities here on my fishing chart. Uh, but that I usually wait at least 10 to 15 minutes. uh, so he was really buying one, or buying one of the money, and hope, okay. Don't worry, team. So okay. So nobody took Apple. So let's go to AMD. Uh, let's go to AMD. Yes, Jack usually trades the next strike uh, out of the money. So if they were, I think they were looking for this. Uh, for being honest, I was looking at this. I was looking at this trade, but two things. Both indices were inside of the range, and also AMD has earnings tomorrow, so I didn't feel confident about taking a trade here. But this was a super nice break and retest of the 100 right here, right? Of the 100, yeah, like here. Actually, it was to the penny. It was a retest to the penny. When you say inside of the range, what range were they in? The 5 minute opening range. So 5 minute opening range for the indices are these purple lines here and here. Let me try to zoom out right here. Not sure if you can read here because I know some screens are smaller, but this says 5 minute candle high, first candle high, first candle low, 5 minute candle low. I need to rename these tags so it's easier for everyone to read. But this is usually this is the 5 minute high and low, the 5 minute opening range high and 5 minute opening range low. So when I say the indices were inside of the range, I'm looking at this range, this 5 minute opening range. 5 minute opening range. So here it was 942. So 942, it's this candle. So this candle is inside of the 5 minute opening range. And 942, it's this candle right at the bottom of the 5 minute opening range. That's why I wasn't so confident about AMD, because again, indices were inside of the range, but also tomorrow they have earnings. So but this was a super nice. Look at this. I mean, it was a retest to the penny. So it was a nice retest to the 100. And also, this is this green line is the previous week high. So you had this key level here. So if you open your position here on the next candle, or maybe here, I mean, somewhere in this candle, but let's say on this second candle, it's the 5 minute opening range high. You open your position here, your risk is at the bottom of this retesting candle, right at the 100 key level, and you were aiming to high of the day. Well, this is a 1 to 2.7 risk reward ratio trade, and this was actually a very nice opportunity. But if you were looking for a second chance at this was a nice displacement and retest of the 5 minute opening range. And I want to show you what was happening on the indices here. So here, can you see SPY was actually retesting the 5 minute opening range, and QQQ was retesting the previous day low. So you see nice price action here with the body above previous day low, a long wick here, and reacting nicely to the upside. Again, I will take SPY as a context because it's bouncing out of the 5 minute opening range high, just the same than AMD. So that could be a second chance to enter into this trade. So if you enter your position here, let's say on this candle, risk is at the bottom of these previous candles, and you were aiming for a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade. Well, actually a 1 to 2, it's like just 100, but let's say 101. 101, it was a 1 to 2.8 risk reward ratio trade, and you actually have a few opportunities to trim into your main objective. I would like this to keep to have continuation to the upside, like doing something like this, but this changed the momentum, right? This killed like the continuation. I would like to have something like this, and then a retest of this area and continuation. But it didn't work. It didn't work even when the indices were pushing up. So that's what I tell you every time. I mean, when you are trading, it's easier when you are trading with the indices on the same direction than the indices, because now you have a reference. So if the indices are pushing up and your name, your tech name, your ticker name is not moving anymore, I mean that's a very good indication that the momentum is off. Uh, okay, let me go to the chat. This- yeah, they sometimes miss the speak. You kind of got to fill in the blank sometimes. Yeah, something it's. I mean, sometimes it's really funny. It's Jack changing the numbers, right? Like he's looking at the 101.50 and he's like, okay, well now we are waiting for these 250 here and this 200, and it's like what is he saying? But if you're paying attention to the charts and you are understanding the context and everything, I mean it's just easy to follow, because I mean you are actually listening to a different thing but understanding the context. uh, Sven, I took 943, three cons on, okay, 943. Okay, well, this was a nice entry. Well, for me, this is kind of a late entry, but because you had all these displacement, I mean, anyways, you had a nice entry here, Sven. What was your what was um, your risk? Uh, 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 Risk. I'm trying to read into the I'm trying to read into the chat, but I can't find it. Okay, well, Sven, I mean that was a nice entry, but I would like to be on the previous candle, maybe when it just hit, or it was above this 5 minute opening range. This could be a nice entry with a clear and defined risk at the bottom of this retesting candle. I mean, I'm assuming that you had the same targets, right? Uh, Team, I thought I should have two. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. I will pace my trading activity. Okay, yeah. If it's like, yeah, they are. He's always mixing numbers. Um, Carlos, hi Neto. I also noticed the opening drive price was bouncing off the 50 SMA. I don't have the SMAs or EMAs here, so I'm not very much following the averages. I mean, yeah, that if you are following the averages, like the 50 SMA, are you doing the 50 SMA on which time frame, Carlos? That will be interesting to know. But again, if that works for you, that's that was a nice move. A fam of I just trade reversal on Tesla, enter on candle 1232. I, I'm not good at reversals. That's one of the reasons I trade the break and retest, because the continuation movements are way easier for me to read. So sometimes it's just like the reversals. It's failing for continuation, and I don't know, like it's harder for me to read. Um, Boyd, what are those circles, Neto? Could you explain? Yes, I will explain. What I do, Boyd, it's instead of going to every chart and trying to explain the key levels, I try to do some pre-work before this session, and you will see on the next stickers, you will see like, oh well, look at the reaction here. Where are you looking at the indices, and you will see why these circles are there. Uh, DC, I use the 8 and 20 EMA. On what time frame? DC. Just looking for more confluences. I see Andy just closed another AMD trade. Entered 2:01 p.m. on the break and retest of 101 and 60. Nice, nice, nice. All right. So these are the two opportunities that I saw on AMD, guys. Again, as I said at the very beginning, I wouldn't trade AMD today. And you know that I love AMD. You know that I kind of master AMD both sides. I mean, I make money both sides with AMD. I know it very well, but that was one of the reasons I didn't trade today AMD, because I know that one day, 2 days before earnings, it usually shakes a lot. So that's what I decided to skip today, and obviously I will skip tomorrow for AMD. So let's go to Amazon. This is the trade I took today. So Amazon opened with a few nice candles, but then it dropped hard from high of the day to low of the day. Actually came all the way to the pre-market low, broke pre-market low, had some reaction here, then retested and rejected this opening price. This opening price is 187, I'm sorry, 186.52 or something like that. So it was struggling here, then started recovering, and I really like this 1 minute opening range because we had this break, nice displacement and retest here. And what was happening on the indices? So let me show you here. I missed these circles here, but I'm gonna set them here. Okay. So now we have this break, displacement, and retest of the 1 minute opening range. So what can you see on the indices? So on SPY, it was the retest of the 5 minute opening range high, and QQQ was actually the retest of the previous day low, but we have been rejecting the previous day low. Can you see here? It was used as a support, then we had this movement, now again support, and we had this kind of nice price action here, a small body, long wick to the down of below the previous day low. But I like this bounce here from the 5 minute opening range high on SPY. So I took this trade somewhere here on between 187 and 187.10, something around here. So I took my trade. Let's say I took my trade right here. My risk was very clear at the bottom of these candles, and I was looking for, well, first I was looking for high of the day, but because it was super close to this 188 key level of the 15-minute chart, I just had this. So I trimmed like 1/4 of my position here. And why 1/4? Because I was looking at the indices, and the indices finally were waking up. So when we hit high of the day on Amazon, we were actually flagging on SPY. So I thought, okay, well, let me just take 1/4 of my position here because it's gonna have some continuation. But then we had this big drop here. So I got scared. I took 25% more, another quarter of my position here when we broke this 188. And then it started to drop even when the indices were, I mean, they were holding key levels. But for being honest, I just got scared around here, around my entry point, because on my mind or in my chart, we were, let me show you here. I mean, we were having higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, but this was actually a lower low. So when we failed here, and well, when we had this consolidation, I just cut my position here, because I was looking at this price action here, and also, I mean, this drop was just too much for me. It was too much for me. So and also I was looking at the indices. They were holding key levels, but Amazon was dropping and dropping and dropping. So I just decided to close my trade right here. So oh, after this, I don't see any other like nice opportunity unless you were drawing all of these order blocks here. So this order block was actually a nice one. So once we came here and retested, uh, can you see what was happening on the indices? So they were consolidating around or above the pre-market high. So this drop here, I didn't like it. So I didn't like it on Amazon. So I wouldn't say like, okay, well, this is a second nice opportunity here. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, but I mean, right now it's hindsight, so everything is super easy to say right now, right? But I mean, if you were looking at these here, if you were looking at these here, this drop it's actually consolidation on the indices. So that's when you start saying, okay, well, it's now not. I mean, it's not now when with relative strength with the indices. It's now actually kind of relative weakness, right? Because it's going to the opposite with the movements of the indices. So that's why I decided to close my Amazon trade. Uh, okay. Such a big drop three times. Yeah. One, two, three, and actually work now. Well, it's yeah. No, can you see? It's actually just chilling between the 1 minute opening range high and the 5 minute opening range high. So it's not the 5 minute opening range, but it's very close to. It's a very tight range. So that was the reason I closed my trade around here. I wouldn't be stuck on this small range here. Anyone took Amazon today? Anyone took Amazon today? No? All right. So let's go to the next one, Nvidia. So give me 1 second, guys. All right. So with Nvidia, we have this ranging here. It's between the 1 minute and the 5 minute opening range high. So again, but we were just ranging here. Can you see? It's it's ranging here. Then we drop, retest this 1 minute opening range high, keep dropping here. But with the indices inside of a range. So or at the top of the range. So for if you are trading reversals, this is what you want to see. You want to see a fail to create new highs, like these two here, and also weakness on key levels. So here we are failing to reclaim the 1 minute opening range high. So this weakness here with the context of the indices with the context of the indices failing to create new highs, this could be a nice opportunity here. So again, it's out of my playbook playing reversals, but if you were trying to play something to the downside, looking at the rejections here or the fails there, and you were looking for this 5 minute opening range low, this was actually a super nice trade. 1 to 4.6 risk reward, or let's say here, this is the opening price. This was a 1 to 3.6 risk reward rate. Again, I don't like to trade reversal, so this is kind of out of my playbook, but this is a nice break, displacement, and retest of the 1 minute opening range high. Okay. And then we have, what is this? Okay, so here, not sure who was asking for the circles, but here, this is what I want you to see. Can you see the reaction of the circles here? So SPY was bouncing out of the pre-market high, and QQQ was bouncing out of this order block above the pre-market high, right on the circle. So here, if you were looking for something like here, your risk was at the bottom of this and you were looking for a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade, look, it's actually just to the pre-market high. So you got this. I mean, it's because you have very small risk here, right? That you can get to the 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade. If you went to this, the 5 minute opening range high. So if you went from the 1 minute opening range high to the 5 minute opening range high, this was a 1 to 2.5 risk reward ratio trade. And as you can see, it's with the right context, you can actually get intraday price nice trades. This is the break, displacement, and hold and retest of this 1 minute opening range high. And what's going on here? Holding the pre-market high, holding this order block here. Let's say here. Holding this order block here. So this is pushing up, right? This is pushing up. That's why this is actually working. I don't like it, but well, there it is. What about this? Ah, well, this is too late on the day. Okay. This is actually too late on the day. This is 11:15. But anyways, I mean, this is so you can see how the context works, right? Even if you are inside of a range right here, just because the indices are showing you some pushing up right here, I mean, you can actually try something like this. Right, what happened with Tesla? I know you are Tesla lovers, guys. So anything that Tesla can show you, it's a nice opportunity here. So, okay. So you will see the circles in action today. So Tesla dropped from the very beginning. It had some sort of reaction here around the 5 minute opening range low. Then we had this break, displacement, and retest of the previous day low and order block of the previous low of the day. So can you see this candle, how this works? It's a small body, long wick going inside of this area of this order block, right below the previous day low. What was happening on the indices? All right, well, indices were rejecting high of the day. So SPY was failing to create new highs, and it was happening the same thing with QQQ. So if you see this as a context of weakness, you could actually take this trade to the downside here at 279. Your risk will be previous day low, and you were aiming to, if you were aiming to 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade, it was 277.50. That's the strike side number. But if you were looking for 275, you actually got it, and this is a 1 to 5 risk reward ratio trade. This was actually very nice. Again, Tesla was taking advantage of this. This is not weakness on the indices. This is just ranging on the indices. But because the indices were not showing a strength, Tesla had this rally to the downside. So that's something that I like from Tesla today. Okay, so let me go to the chat again. Melly, I was playing Pop and Fade and took puts on on 5 minutes. Um, JMG, hola, muy contenta de la sesión que ofrecerás en español. Translation, it's very glad about the session that we are having on Spanish. So if you speak Spanish and you belong to this community, well, I'm just turning 1 year on this community today. I'm super happy because of how my trading journey just evolved and changed for the good. For all the challenges that I have accomplished and everything that I learned on this community. So a way to give back for this community to my Hispanic community is I will be offering a Q&A session in Spanish. So it's gonna be something casual. It's not gonna be formal. It's actually it's not gonna be a class. So just for you to know, it's not gonna be a class. It's gonna be more like a Q&A. If you want to go through some examples, uh, how risk management works, how to set your stop loss, how to trim your positions, how to spot the bad setups, how to journal. I mean, I want to share from the experience, not as a coach or as a teacher, but as a trader peer for you. So if you will be around, it's May the 16th, I think. It's in 2 Fridays. In 2 Fridays. So if you're gonna be around and you speak Spanish or you want to speak Spanish for a day, that will be a nice opportunity to see you there. Okay. This year I took Nvidia instead of AMD because of AMD high IV. Yeah, that's actually super nice. Usually, and remember, in trading, nothing works all the time, and everything works sometimes, right? So, but most of the times, or many times, the semis industry, they all trend in tandem, right? So if Nvidia is going super high with a lot of strength, usually, and it's not a rule, but usually AMD, SMCI, and all of these chips companies, they start like following, right? So today was a nice day to switch to another ticker with relative movement than AMD, because just as you said, AMD IV was super high because tomorrow is earnings. So it was a very nice decision to take Nvidia today. Melly, I took Amazon puts on 945 for puts. Well, I'll take back. I'll take a look in a minute. Deepti, hi Neto. When you say nice displacement, you look. Could you please give an example? Like for example, here. I mean, you have an impulsive candle to the downside, and then, or let's say here, you have this movement to the downside, and you start looking candles not touching your level. The most important here is they are separated from your key level. Here the key level is the previous day low, or even this order block here. But what you want to see is candles not touching the key level, because for example, let's say here, I mean, you cannot say this is displacement, right? Because all of the candles are touching this key level. Okay, not sure if I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself, but let's do this, Dipti. In the Discord channel, ask this same question and tag me. I'm gonna share a video, a link to a video where we explain in depth the displacement. Okay, hi EA. Which order type do you favor, market or limit order on open and close? Guys, I just do market orders. I'm done with limit orders. Usually I have like a few cents on the bid and a few cents on the ask. and I use limit orders. But because I mean options, you need to be very fast on the moves, and because I don't want to be left on the moves, I just switch to market order. So I got filled every time. My orders get filled every time, because we are trading the momentum. It doesn't matter if you have some slippage. Um, so uh, in my case, that's what I like it, because I didn't like to be like, oh, I just feel half my position and suddenly it was a super nice move. Or when I'm selling my contracts, it's like, oh, it rejected hard, so I wasn't able to sell all of my contracts. So market orders are my thing, but you need to be fine with the idea that you are never gonna have like the tip top of the prices. Good looking trade on Tesla. Yeah, this actually looks really nice. Again, even if you are having this the context on the indices, they are actually failing to create new highs. So this is the reversals that I told you. I don't trade reversals, but if you use reversals as a context, this drop, look at this. This drop, even when it's not a huge drop on the indices, or at least on SPY, QQQ was a little bigger of a drop. Look at Tesla. Tesla was looking just for an excuse to go lower, right? So this is the kind of opportunities that you are looking. And when you are looking to put, I mean, you don't need to be that technical that the retest is right to the penny, because when you think on levels, never think on a line, always think on zones, all right, areas of interest, not just the line. Okay. Ale, I took a short on Tesla 944. 944. Okay. Off order block. Yeah, I got what you have here. Something like this. It was a nice hammer, 5 seconds before candle close, 84%. Yeah, that was nice one. Because you said this one. Well, look at this. This is a good example of what we were saying here. So if you are looking for the break and retest of this order block, all of these weeks, these are immediate retests. So if you have immediate retest, there's no displacement. But here we have a nice candle going all the way to this previous day low. So it's separated from the order block. And then we have another candle that is not touching the order block. Well, it is, because I mean the order block. I know technically the order block should be the up closing candle on a downtrend, but uh, generally speaking, your order block should start here and cover the wick on the body of the up closing candle, right? So if you are doing this, you can see that two candles are not touching the order block, and then we had this retest. So this 944 candle, it's a nice retest with nice reaction. Look at this wick going through all the order block and then closing below of it, and then you had some sort of consolidation here. But after a few touches, and what was happening again, what was happening on the indices, I want to show you this. So here, yes, here and here, look at the circle. So here you were failing to create new highs, not a body closing above the previous high or the high of the day. So that weakness or that kind of reversal on the indices is telling you this guy wants to go lower. So after a few candles, flirting here with the 5-minute opening range low. We finally got this drop. And this was a nice trade, Ale. Congrats. This was a nice trade. DC, you got 2 birthdays this week? Yeah. Yeah, my birthday on Saturday. Thank you guys for all of the people that took a minute to write a message on any of the Discord or the Traders Lab, or some of you send me DMs. Thank you very much for taking a time for sending me uh, your best wishes. Thank you very much. It was a very nice birthday weekend. I spent a lot of time with my kids and my wife, and everything was super nice. Thank you very much for your messages. They all uh, filled my heart. Thank you very much. And yes, and today is my trading birthday, or my new era trading birthday, right? Okay. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Well, that's a whole story. Let's don't talk about Cinco de Mayo because it's not something like you think. Uh, JMG, excelente. Esperen sigan creciendo los ofrecimientos en español. So probably this is gonna be a one shot only thing, JMG, because the community is English based. So, but anyways, if you have any question and you want to ask in Spanish on the community, just shoot your questions, or even here on the YouTube channel, if you want to create kind of a conversation here on one of the videos, I will always reply. And if you, I mean, if you ask me in Spanish, I will reply in Spanish, so don't worry about it. Thank you for being interested on my content, on how I can help. I'm glad to help. So Ale, I just don't get Portuguese or Russian, so don't start. All right, so that was Tesla, guys. Again, I think it was a nice weakness spot here. It's showing weakness on the indices. Again, I like to take from the bottom of the ranges on the indices and then the push down on the ticker. But this is also good, right? I mean, this is looking weak. The retest on this previous day low, looking weak on the indices, failing to create new highs. So this was another good opportunity. And the one that Ale took, this 944 candle, that was also a very good, that was also a very good trade. So let's go to the next one, Microsoft. Microsoft, it offered a super nice move. Let me show you here. So Microsoft actually was doing great in the morning. So it opened, broke this pre-market high for 33, created the 1 minute and the 5-minute opening range high. So we were going above the 5-minute opening range, and then we had this retest on the 1-minute opening range. Can you see here? So if you are looking to this, now you understand why the circles were where I draw them. So this retest of the 1-minute opening range high, it's the actual retest of SPY on the 5-minute and the 1-minute opening range high, and the pre-market low, I'm sorry, the previous day low, and the 1-minute and 5-minute opening range high on QQQ. So again, SPY was looking a bit stronger than QQQ, but this retest right here is exactly the same retest than here. So if you open your position here, right above these previous candles, let's say here, your risk was right here on the 1-minute opening range high, and you were looking for the high of the day. This was a 1 to 3.8 risk reward ratio trade, and this was actually a super nice trade. I mean, no drawdown trades. I love them. I love this kind of trades. So as you can see, we didn't have too much of a reaction at high of the day. So probably you took it like to at least to here to 437.50. Why 437.50? Because it's the strike, round number, side number. So if you took it to here, it was a 1 to 4.4 risk reward ratio trade. Again, no drawdown here. So this was a nice trade. And also we had a second chance here on Microsoft. So we had it was 11:18. I know this is out of my trading window. However, it's super nice and super clear. So we had this break, displacement. This is the displacement. Candles not touching the level or not touching this order block that we created on the first high of the day. So we had this displacement here, and then we had this retest of this order block that we created on the previous high of the day. And what was happening on the indices? I want to show you this. This is why the circles are. So what was happening on the indices? Okay, well, SPY was breaking displacement and retesting this pre-market high. This is the pre-market high. And QQQ was breaking displacement and retesting this order block here. So I really like this one. So if you open your position here right above the order block, your risk was at the bottom of this candle, and you were aiming to high of the day again. So high of the day was 1 to 3.1 risk reward ratio trade, and I think this was a very nice and clear spot opportunity. Why? Because if you are using the indices as your context, makes things easier, right? Can you see here? Can you see actually? Can you see the value of looking at the indices at the same time? It's just I try to do that. I try to trade on the same direction, but I understand that there's people that they don't like to look at too many charts on the same screen, and they are just looking for the price action on their ticker. But I think, and that's my personal preference, that looking at your ticker in confluence or divergence of the indices gives you a lot of hints of what's going on. All right. Yeah, these two were super easy to spot, right? All right, so let's go to Google. Google also had a super nice trade here. Let me rearrange this, the indices here. Okay. So we had this break, displacement, and retest of pre-market high. So this 163.77 is the pre-market high for Google. Again, this is 942. I don't like it too much. And also, indices were inside of their 5-minute opening range. However, what was happening on the indices here? Let me put this here. Okay. Right here. So Google was bouncing out of the pre-market high, and what was happening on the indices? So they both were bouncing from the bottom of the 5-minute opening range. Again, that's not how I like to take my positions, but if you are looking for confluences, the indices were from support to resistance, right? So they were bouncing on support. So here, this is a nice trade opportunity here. So let's say you open your position here right above these previous two candles. Let's say on this previous day close, and your risk was at the bottom of this candle here, and you were aiming to this 165. That's the your previous day high. It was a 1 to 2.5 risk reward ratio trade. Can you see here? So sometimes it's super easy, super fast. This actually took 2, 4, 6 candles, 7 candles to to take you to your target. So this could be a 20-minute work day. If you were taking this could be a 20-minute work day. If you were, yeah, if you were holding your position here, I mean, you spend hours trying to get to high of the day. So if you were aiming to a 1 to 2.1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade, but this was actually a 1 to 2.5, and it had a very clear target. This is previous day high. So this was a very clear target. And how would you know to stop trading this? Because you start consolidating here despite the indices pushing up, pushing up. Look at this. On this candle, look at the indices, how strong bounce was this? And look at this baby reaction here on Google. So that's why this is where you start saying like, okay, well, this is not worth it. This is not going anywhere. Let's just, I mean, take advantage of your time in something else, because this is not gonna give you more than it already gave you here. So here, this is also the this 164.66. It's a key level on the 15-minute chart, but just as I said, I mean, we were not looking strong follow of the indices behavior. So this is just consolidating for you. I wouldn't take this trade here. So I think this was the only opportunity here. And lastly, let's go to Meta. I actually didn't prepare anything for Meta here, but I was trying to explain about these circles. Okay, so can you see? Let me rearrange this. If you guys need me to rearrange my chart so you can understand better, you just let me know on the chat. Okay, so here, this is out of nothing, right? I mean, this is not this is not a key level. This is actually nothing here, unless, let me go, give me 1 second. Yeah, Meta. This was high. Well, it was close, but not. It didn't retest. Look, I actually missed this 592.95 key level. Can you see here? This was uh, Thursday highs. Yeah, this was Thursday highs. What if we set here? Maybe. Yeah, this was something like here. What did we say? 592.95. Yeah, but I mean, anyways, it wasn't a retest of that, but that was close. So here we had this strong push to the upside, then we had this retracement or this pullback here. I mean, this is the new order block, but because we will be looking for something like this, there was no displacement enough here, and then maybe here, no, not again. But what I want you to see is how nice of reaction here. I mean, how the market structure is working here. And look at this circle. What was happening on the indices? The SPY was bouncing out of the pre-market low, 561.70, and QQQ was bouncing off previous day low, 484.83. So this pullback and then bounce here was right on the key levels, on both indices. So if you were looking for something like this, and I'm not saying this is a break and retest strategy because it actually never retested anything here. But if you took this trade, something like this is 1 to 4.6 risk reward rated trade, and this is entirely out of price action here. Can you see? So we have this nice bounce, or this strong breakout here. Then we have this pullback to this area. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bouncing from this 593.60. This 593.60. What was that key level? Nothing, at least this clear, because I didn't see anything on the 15-minute chart. But if you were looking just to these key levels here on the price action here, and you were looking at the indices, you were looking for this nice bounce again, SPY from the pre-market low and QQQ from the previous day low. So this could be a nice trade, but this is not a break and retest, unless we had a key level here, but I didn't have it. All right, let me go to the chat. We don't have anything on the chat now. Well, that's all for me, guys. That's all for me today. I'm not sure if you have any question or you want to go through other ticker. If you want to review any other ticker, please send me a DM before coming to the session. Yes, Ale, type your question. If you want me to take a look to Palantir, SMCI, AVGO, whatever you want, please just let me know before the session so I have some time to take a look to the charts and do some review of the levels. Of course, I can go through any other of the tickers. So I'm gonna give a minute for Ale. Is 84% rule in your understanding connected to 84% pullback on fib scale? I don't know. I think they are not connected in any way. I mean, 84% rule, how we know it, it's because of how the probability works, because it has 84% of chances to work on the second entry, but it has nothing to do with how much of a retracement is. I have some examples, but I can send pictures here on YouTube. Send it to me on the feedback channel on Discord. Yeah, send it to me on the feedback channel on Discord. Let's try to pull more people to the conversation, because I mean, I understand what the fibs are, but I don't trade with them, so I don't know how they work on a regular basis. But let's try to figure out. All right, guys. So thank you very much. Remember, if you speak Spanish, I will see you on this private casual Q&A Friday next week. And if you want to practice your Spanish, it's a good chance. Ale, I'll see you there. I know Portuguese is alike Spanish. Let's see how well you can do it. For all other people, I'll see you Friday next week. All right, Alejandro Treviño, I'll see you on that session. All right, Juan, I'll see you there. Free language class. It's not gonna be a language class, but it's gonna be a Q&A in our preferred language. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.